Hi team, welcome to today's live. In today's live, we're going to be covering how to manage hunger and food focus in a fat loss phase. So definitely watch or listen to all of this because it is going to really help you. Because it's going to be full of hopefully plenty of helpful tips for you. So let's begin. What we're starting with, food focus.
Yeah. It's natural when you're in a deficit.
Well, let's define food focus. So what is food focused? Being highly focused on food.
Yeah.
So you'll be constantly thinking about food, your next meal, you'll be like counting down the hours, you'll be basically glamorizing and putting food on a pedestal, you'll be, just really glorifying food and thinking about it non-stop. So that is what food focus is.
Yeah. Got to think back to the sort of hunter-gatherer times when we were sort of like cavemen. Surviving, yeah. And when you are hungry, your body's telling you, like, it needs food. So it's either you get this food or you're gonna die. Like, and that's what it was back in the day. Like, food is very easily accessible now. It wasn't as such back in the day. Like, literally caveman time. So it's like when the family is getting hungry, we need to go and hunt. We need to get the food, or we are gonna starve to death. So it is extremely normal when you are hungry to have these feelings of, I need to eat food.
And I think it's important for us to highlight that food focus and hunger in a fat loss phase is extremely natural and normal because, like Jordan said, what's happening is when you're in a fat loss phase, you're in a calorie deficit, an energy deficit. So your body is not getting as much energy as you are using. So your body's going to be like, no, Becky, come on, like you're hungry, go get some food. But so that's all where it comes from, food focused. And obviously your brain is like thinking about food because you're in a calorie deficit a lot, so it wants food, basically, survival. It's like, food, survive. But obviously in today's day and age, we are literally surrounded by food. Food is so easily accessible. And we have a overweight crisis, don't we?
Yeah, and we're gonna touch on the tips to sort of help hunger and stuff like that. But this is why we do have a sort of obesity crisis.
That's the one I was looking for.
Overweight crisis, obesity crisis is because when you do get these feelings of hunger and stuff like that, people are eating foods that they don't know how many calories it contains. Do you know what I mean?
Now, like in today's day and age, obviously there's so much processed food, and I mean these people, the manufacturers know exactly what they're doing when they make that food. It's highly addictive. It's highly palatable, so it's highly addictive. So you're always wanting more and more and more. Whereas, think of like a bag of Maltesers. I could literally just carry on eating Maltesers until I've like consumed ridiculous amounts. Whereas if you put like a massive black bag of spinach in front of me, obviously after a while I'm going to be like,
a while, give me two spinach.
Well,
give me two spinach leaves. I'm done.
Well, you know what I mean. Maybe I should have said like berries or something a bit more tasty. But that's quite a good example where obviously food is highly palatable. So we're going a bit off track. So let's bring it back to food focus. So I think I've written some tips.
So what not to do?
In a fat loss phase.
Yeah, in a fat loss phase.
When you are to decrease food focus, basically.
And I have the first one that we've got wrote down here.
Before.
We've definitely both been here before. There's so many videos on like YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. Do not watch food videos. If you are in a deficit phase, a fat loss phase, and you are getting these hunger cravings, the worst thing you can do is sit on the sofa and watch a food video, especially when it's like how many pizzas, if it's like a food challenge thing as well. So, I've done that before, and let me tell you how much it doesn't help you whatsoever.
To be honest, we both haven't. Even now when we watch YouTube, we see it come up. And even when we're not in a fat loss phase, I still think it's not great for food focus. It makes you food focus. It makes you want and desire all these crazy foods, and it's not really a great thing to do. So especially if you're on a fat loss phase, do not sit and watch food videos.
Yeah. And
which kind of leads on to number 2.
Number 2, yeah. Do not glamorize or put foods on a pedestal. So, like, neutralize it. You know, this food is here to make you feel good. You know, you need to be digesting it well. If you're not digesting your foods well, then you need to let us know, and we need to change things up there. But the moment you look towards, like, these food videos and they've got, like, brownies and donuts and stuff like that, and you think they're really, really amazing, chances of you sort of coming to binge eating on them is pretty high, because you've really sort of put them up there. It's like God to you. Do you know what I mean? You've glamorized them foods way too much.
Yeah, or even like if your partner's eating a certain food that, for example, is having a pizza, try and not like glorify it up in your head and be like, oh, I wish I could have that. Like, that looks so good. It looks so tasty. That's so amazing. Just be a bit like, you know, it's pizza. It is what it is.
It's pizza, yeah.
I think, obviously, we all love food. Like, we all love food. Food is amazing. But just try and not really put it on that be all and end all, and hype it up so much in your head.
It's like that thing when, I could lose weight, but I just love food too much. Like, we hear that all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, if anyone loves food, like, well, I'd say I love it, but everyone loves food. Do you know what I mean?
Everyone loves food.
Yeah, everyone loves food. It's just being aware of what's in it and not glamorizing it way too much.
Yeah, so that's tip number 2. And then finally, what's the...
Do not hoard the foods you desire and crave.
Yeah.
So you touched on this one because you brought it up, so...
Yeah, well, to be honest, it's probably more if you've got a specific date in mind for your fat loss. You see this a lot in, like, the competing world, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, but basically, the idea is if say you're following a meal guide at the moment and you're on fairly low calories, don't go out of your way to buy, for example, like chocolate bars and like big bags of things and think in your head, oh, I'll have that after X event. Say for example, you're dieting for a wedding. Don't like buy things and think, oh, I'll have that after the wedding. Like, again, this is something I've done in the past, like when I've done like photo shoots and things like years ago. I'd like buy some, I don't know, say a chocolate bar that I really, really wanted at that time, and I thought, oh well, if I buy it now, then after say the shoot, I'll be able to have it.
You see people do it all the time. When obviously, like our sort of previous work before, from coming from a gym, like you see a lot of people that are bodybuilders. You see a lot of girls that are entering bikini competitions because they think it's the in thing to do, and they save all this food up after the show. Like, I'm going to have this, I'm going to have these cookies after the show, I'm going to have this, and it is all just way too food focused, and that is a very bad way to build relationship with food. Restricting yourself so much, hoarding all this food up, saving yourself all this food, and then going after the show, I'm going nuts.
Yeah, and that's coming from, again, glorifying the food.
Glorifying the food, yeah.
A massive part of that is from the restrictive side of it. So coming from that restrictive mindset, which is why we want to help you incorporate foods that you love into your diet, but also understand that, you know, pizzas and cookies and chocolate and all the rest of it, you can have them in moderation, but if you are in a fat loss phase right now, like, you might just really need to really decrease your intake of it for, I don't know, say a couple of months, but understand that they're not going to go anywhere. They're not, you know, don't come from it from that restrictive mindset is what I'm trying to say.
And if you're in a fat loss phase and you can't fit 3 squares of chocolate in your plan, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you can 100% do that. It comes down to satiation as well. Like, is that food going to fill you up? Is it got good nutrients in it? Probably not. Everyone loves chocolate though, don't they? So
God, yeah.
It's been like, I can fit like whatever 4 squares in it. I could probably fit more in it, but then if my calories are pretty low, I'm not going to have a substantial meal.
Yeah, and I've got quite a few girls that don't have chocolate at all. Well, they have it sometimes, but as in they don't want. I've had in the past people say, well, I don't want any chocolate because I have to just eat more and more and more. When, if this is you, I would ideally like you to reach out to either me or John, whoever your coach is, because, you know, it's not really, that's still restricting, basically. You're still being in a super restrictive
Do you know what? Dan said that to me. One of my clients, Dan, he was like, Dan is making so much progress at the minute. And I put chocolate in his plan for his last meal. I think I put like 5 squares of dairy milk chocolate in for his last meal or something. And he doesn't have that anymore because he'd rather have more carbs and more fats throughout the day in other places. He knows that really it's just a bit of a waste of calories. But he went from the mindset of going, nah, fuck that, I'll be having the whole square, the whole bar of chocolate.
Yeah.
And what he's gone from doing is going, actually, do you know what? It's not actually worth the calories. Like I'll put my food somewhere else. Yeah, which is a big learning curve for him really. And I'm glad that he communicated that stuff with me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Right. So what's next? Food. Hunger.
Yeah.
So hunger. We've kind of just mentioned this, but hunger is very, very normal in a fat loss phase. As we said, obviously your energy, your calorie intake is lower. Your energy expenditure is higher. So you're going to be in that calorie deficit. Which leads to hunger. So first things first, very normal, and it is to be expected. So, and I was thinking about this earlier. We, like Western culture, don't really experience hunger. Like we are so privileged and blessed to have all this access to food that the moment we feel a tiny bit hungry, we are just so programmed to reach for food. Or, for example, if you were a kid and you told your mum you were hungry, she'd be like, "Oh, well, go get a snack," or something like. You've never felt. We haven't ever felt proper hunger before.
No, you haven't.
And even now, like say if your calories are 1,400, 1,500, that is not starvation. That is not. That's still a decent amount of food. So I think. The first tip that I'd actually have I written tips down here?
I'd go into your second tip here while you're just touching on the foods, like the high volume foods.
No, what was I about to say now? I've completely forgot.
Mine's calories is restrictive. A lot of it is a mindset game. So when we touch
so that's what I was going to say. So the first tip is to change your perspective on the calories that you're on, and instead of thinking, I'm on such low calories, I'm starving, like think instead, I've got a decent amount of calories to play with my day. I'm so blessed to be able to still have access to this calories and food. There's people out there in the world that can't afford food, that are in, these poor countries that don't have access to these calories that you have access to. And I was just saying to John, about these studies as well. There's been studies, there's 2 different groups, and they both were given shakes as meals. There was a low calorie shake and a high calorie shake. The low calorie shakes were told that they were high calorie, and then the low calorie shakes were told that they were
low
calories. Basically, the low calorie shake that told they were high calories weren't. I'm lost.
The low calorie shake that told they were high calories were no longer hungry. Because they thought they were having high calories.
That's what I was trying to get to.
I know you've come back and forth. I know. And then the people that were having the high calorie shake, but they were told it was low calories,
they were
starving.
Hungry. They felt hunger. So it's so much of it is a mindset game. It really is with your food and calories in deficit. So I think it's just something to be very aware of. So try to
You confused me so much that you looked at me and I was like.
God, I've probably confused absolutely everyone. But... that's tip number 1 for hunger. Tip number 2.
Yeah, so tip number 1 is sort of your mindset with it all. Tip number 2 is high volume foods.
The volumization method.
So think about vegetables. We obviously still want you to count them. There's still got calories in them. So when you're putting them through MyFitnessPal, if you're not sticking to your base meal plan, definitely be doing that. But you do this especially. I feel like you're the queen of doing this. I
do love a volume food.
So when your calories, I say, are pretty low, whatever, if you are in a deficit, so you're obviously expending more calories than what you're eating, bulk them out with low calorie foods that are quite volumizing.
Yeah, so first of all, define what high volume food is. What does that mean?
Veg.
No, people won't understand what that means. The high volume...
I did say that. It's basically a lot on your plate for low calories.
Yeah, it's like high volume, low calories.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of food and it's not a lot of calories. And you're going to get stuff like that.
So it's like when on Instagram when you see those comparison pictures. So you might have like a chocolate bar, which is like 200 calories, and then you might have a massive chicken salad that's also 200 calories. That's the difference between volume.
Yeah.
So yeah, high volume foods. So this is why I always like, firstly, obviously, so many people do not eat enough veg and things like that as they should do. But yeah, vegetables.
I'm one of them, by the way. I'm
You are pretty bad actually at the minute for veg.
I'm not that bad. It doesn't look like I eat a lot because when I have my spinach with my pasta,
it just disappears.
You put a full pack in and it looks like I put one leaf in there.
Yeah, so things like spinach, stir fries, they're great. Massive salads, you can literally make. Sometimes I sit down with a massive glass bowl of salad, and it's like. Yeah,
and it's salad. Not just boring salad as well.
You can add things to it. It's not just salad, but that's
what you've got: salad leaves, pomegranate seeds, bit of sweet corn, bit of beetroot.
Yeah, tomato, onion,
red onion. Yeah,
bit of salad
peppers,
cream,
everything.
And then in terms of like carb sources as well. So instead of having like pasta and bread, nothing wrong with these things. But
nothing wrong with them.
If you're wanting to fill yourself up a bit more and feel like you are eating. Basically, it takes longer to eat, then you'd go for things more like rice cakes, maybe potatoes even. They're slightly more high volume. What else is high volume carb-wise?
Emily, I spoke with Emily the other week as well, and she's actually got pasta in her plan, and I actually think she's also got like chicken wrap in there as well. And she was like, yeah, swap these out for rice.
Yeah. Or what I think, because I've got quite a few girls on lower calories at the minute, but they want pasta, so they've got like 40 grams of uncooked pasta, which literally looks like nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
But what I've said is, then what you'd do is you'd bulk that out with veg as well. So you'd add loads of like spinach and courgette, or just things like that to bulk it out, so that you do have a big plate.
You could have like spaghetti. Yeah, 40 grams of spaghetti.
Yeah, of course, and
then courgette as well.
Yeah, 100%. So things like that. So yeah, it is a massive, massive game changer. That, especially if you want to feel like you're actually eating a really decent big meal for low calories.
Yep. Step number 3, or tip number 3, hydration. A lot of us don't drink enough anyway. How much do you drink a day?
I'm guilty of this one, actually. I don't think I drink enough.
No. What I do now is I sort of get up in the morning, and because I'm aware that I don't drink enough as well. Like, a lot of people will be like work from home, and a lot of you will. I have quite a few clients that don't actually work from home as well. But regardless of that, I find myself, because I'm sat at the desk quite a bit now, is I just know that I don't drink enough. So I get up in the morning and I have like a protein shaker thing. I'm not sure what the quantity of water it is. It's more than a pint anyway. And I just have a pint of water first thing in the morning, because that's I know that I struggle to get it in. So I think first thing when I get up, I'm having some water. That's what I do.
I used to drink a lot when I worked in the gym, one-to-one PT, because I used to carry a bottle around with me. So I literally would just unconsciously drink this bottle. So to be fair, I need to get another bottle, because that's a game changer.
Yeah, I have this 1.5 litre, and I might have, to be fair, because I do need to up my water intake. Being honest now, maybe I've like 1.5 of these a day.
So about 2 litres.
Yeah, maybe about 2 litres. Yeah.
That's all right. But to be fair, it's not like you're really, really hot. I'd usually say they say 2 to 4 litres, don't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But hydration, obviously, if you're feeling super hungry, just make sure that you are really hydrated. And upon that as well, don't be afraid to have things like a little bit of like dilute juice, and also like...
Obviously zero sugar.
Well, yeah.
It doesn't have to be. You could fit it in your calories, but it's just easy and it tastes exactly the same for me.
So things like that, and also diet drinks as well.
Yeah.
So I would use diet drinks more so as a bit of a treat, as well, as in don't get addicted to having them like four a day or anything. Try and just stick to sort of 1 a day, 2 tops. But yeah.
Yeah, and people don't like. I know this is slightly off topic, but people say, "Oh, now they cause cancer and stuff like that." But and I'm telling you that they don't. There's been studies they don't at all.
So. I think you're more likely to get cancer if you're overweight.
Exactly. That's what the point is. So it's like I saw this thing on Facebook the other day, and it was like, do this with your diet, don't do this, and then do this with your drinks, don't do this, and then you end up thinking, fucking hell, I just won't do anything. Like, what do I do? So I'd just say a full fat Coke, yeah, you can fit in your calories, but if you are in a deficit, which every single one of you pretty much is on our programme, then just have a Diet Coke because you're saving yourself 100 and odd calories at the end of the day. So, right, so tip number 3 was hydration. Tip number 4, when feeling hunger, food focus.
So when you're feeling hungry or you're feeling high food focus or anything like that, it's really important to change your state.
Do activities to change your state.
Properly on that. Change your state so that basically you want to be taking your mind, because so much of it is, like I said, in your head, and the more you focus on it, the worse it's going to get. So that's what you want to do. Change your state.
Go on a walk, get some steps in, put a podcast on. Just do something that stops you from sitting down and being like, I'm pretty hungry.
Yeah.
Clean the house.
Sort your wardrobe out, all these things, and it's just so that otherwise you will find that you'll just sit and you'll just make it yourself worse, and you'll play games with yourself. So, and like we mentioned, hunger is totally normal. You just need to just change your state, just deal with it for a little while until your next meal. And even finding things like whether, when you'll find tasks that that you can just get completely lost in, and that time just sort of flies. So whatever that is for you, I do think work, if you enjoy your work, is a really great one. And especially because when you are in a deficit, you are running highly off more cortisol, which is stress, basically. So you'll find that initially, after maybe first week or so of dieting, you might feel a little bit more tired and groggy and a bit like, oh. But then when you come out of the other side, you actually feel so much more clarity and focus and energy. You'll be waking up earlier, and it's not necessarily a good thing because you are basically running off cortisol. That's what that is. It's like it's your body sort of being a bit stressed out because it's hungry, and it's like, go get some food, go find some food. But take advantage of that feeling, the more clarity and the higher energy, by putting yourself into getting locked into some sort of work, or get yourself organised and things like that. So
So tip number 4 was change your state, do activities. Tip number 5 is spread your meals out and also meal timing. So there's so many reasons as to why spreading your meals out and meal timings are sort of important, down to protein synthesis. This is what we touched on another live Q&A, so I won't really go into that. But what is not ideal when you're in a deficit is I would actually say, because I've got a couple of clients that do this, is they might prolong breakfast for a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say, because I find that super helpful for myself as well.
Which is absolutely fine to do. It's fine to do
but not till like 3 p.m. or anything. Maybe like till, I don't know, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, I'd say very latest 11. Yeah. What you don't want to be doing is waking up, eating absolutely nothing, and then at 5 o'clock being like, right, I've got 1,500 calories to go in at.
Even like 1, 2, 3 p.m. in the afternoon, you'll just be absolutely starving by then.
Yeah. And we don't want to be sort of, obviously in terms of your protein synthesis, I'd say to be eating every maybe 3 and a bit hours. That's why we spread your meals out.
Yeah, I like to think breakfast, if you are in a fat loss phase, breakfast, lunch and tea, non-negotiables.
Yeah,
3 meals.
100%.
Because at least you've got 3 protein synthesis spikes in there.
Yeah.
And then like some sort of snack if desired.
Yeah.
But at least 3 meals.
And with when it comes down to performance in training and stuff like that, you don't want to be in a session feeling sick or feeling dizzy, like I've not eaten enough food.
Oh yeah, weak.
Yeah, but
you want to get calories
again, put your carbohydrates like around your workout. That'd be a great time to put them in, so you've got that energy source there.
Yeah. So although there isn't, when it comes to meal timing, there isn't like we don't really preach. There is a correct type of time. Like you don't have to eat every 3 hours. You don't have to eat breakfast at 8 a.m. You know, there's no quote unquote rules around it, but just be smart in the sense of make sure that you are getting at least 3 meals in, sort of spread fairly throughout the day. And at the end of the day, find something that works for you, whether that is pushing your breakfast on till, you know, like late morning a bit, or maybe you don't get too hungry in the evening, so you'd prefer like to eat a mid-morning snack and breakfast, or finding something that works for you.
So that was tip number 5, spread your meals out.
Yeah.
So this stuff it definitely will help you all. Every single one of you are in the same position here. You know, pretty much everyone's in a deficit, aren't they?
Almost. Yeah. Not everyone, but yeah.
Yeah. So these tips will definitely help you out.
To be honest, even if you're not in a deficit right now, these tips are still going to help you out.
Yeah. But anything you want to add?
Yes, there was. One sec. Oh, remembered.
She paused it. Paused it.
So basically, I was just going to say, this is why we like to, again, do your fat loss in phases. We like to break it down so that, you know, yes, you are going to feel hunger. You are going to feel hungry. But just understand that it's not going to be forever. You know, it's like, yes, okay, you might feel a little bit of discomfort with the hunger. And like you might feel maybe a bit grouchy. You might have days, you will 100% have days that are worse than others, as in terms of hunger and things like that.
Yeah.
But just understanding that it's not going to last for years upon years or anything. Once you've got that body fat off, you can then start increasing your food again. And, you know, done correctly, you'll gain very little body fat.
Yeah.
And you'll be in such a better position. And that's how the Best Yet Bodies works.
Yeah, that's how we like to do it. We get rid of the body fat. The goal is we are fat loss coaches to get the fat off, and then from there we can look. You will not be on the lower end of. I think this is what people think about all the time. To be fair, this could be another live Q&A. Touch on it very, very briefly. People think I'm gonna be this hungry forever. Like you're not. After you've done your fat loss phase, if we reverse your calories up slowly, so we basically increase your calories, it could be week by week, very, very slowly, you'll actually be on higher calories and still be at the same amount of body fat.
Yeah, you not necessarily weight though, like your body composition will look so much better.
Yes, it definitely will. But if you're eating 1,400 calories now, that is not you set for life.
No,
do you know what I mean? So
no, it's a phase.
I think a lot of people think that. A lot of people think, oh, this is the calories that I'm on forever. Do I need to get used to this feeling? And that's where they just go, fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I think a really great way to think of a fat loss phase is a bit like a mission. Like you just got to get in, get the job done.
Yeah.
As efficiently as possible, give it your all, and then you can get out. Yeah. Instead of, dipping in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out.
Get in, get out, get that food back up.
Yeah.
Feel amazing.
Yeah.
Right, team. Any questions on this? You know where we're at. We look forward to seeing your progress throughout the week. Keep killing it.
Speak to you later.